Thank you, Cusp. It's great to be here. It's my first time. I'm excited about it. I love this city. I'm here often, do work here. It only took me 58 minutes to get here from Minneapolis. So it's a nice flight. Here's a subject I wanted to cover today. It's been a long and winding road. I've been a creative person, trying to make a living as a creative person for about 45 years now. And during those 45 years, my goal has always been to wake up in the morning and look forward to going to work. I guess that's the basic impetus between doing the same and starting over. If you get to a point in your career, in your creative endeavors, where you're not looking forward to getting up and going to work, then I say you start over. I always start with this painting. My wife of 47 years, my daughter, who's 45, and my partner in design. I did this portrait way back when. I went to art school and I wanted nothing whatsoever to do with any form of commercial art. Design, art direction, illustration. I was going to be a fine artist. And that's what I wanted to do. This painting represents the reason that I needed to change my mind and start over. Couldn't pay the bills, couldn't pay the rent, couldn't buy enough groceries. So fortunately, my father-in-law, Patsy's dad, was a chief marketing officer for a large company in Minneapolis called Onan. They made generators and small engines for boats and motorhomes, and they had a huge manufacturing facility there. And they had an art department. And my father-in-law said, "Joe, there's an opening in the art department at Onan. Do you think you can do it?" I said, "I can do any kind of art." So here's what I did. I became a technical illustrator, which I guess is about as far away from being a fine artist as you could possibly get and still do art. But the interesting thing is that it taught me an awful lot about what I eventually became. We had a print shop there, we set our own type, we dealt with copy, we dealt with a team of individuals, all of whom were doing things to promote Onan and the products that they made. And fortunately, because I could draw really well, they gave me assignments that picked up on my illustration and my sense of design and whatnot. I did cartoons, I did book covers, I did in-house posters. I did lots of different forms of art as well as technical illustration, and I was learning to be a designer. Did this for 4 years. At that point, the president came to me and he said, "Like your art, love to have you create a mural that for our lobby for our 50th anniversary that would cover those 50 years. And so that's what you see in the middle at the bottom there. My friend Barry McCool, and my partner Barry McCool, and I took on the assignment. The president asked me how much I would charge to do it. And I said, I think $10,000. To have to do it after work and over weekends. And he said, there is no way you're getting $10,000 to do a piece of art. He said, I'm going to pay you by the hour at the same rate as you're paid to be a technical illustrator. So, $12,000 later, finito. And not only was it $12,000, it was my ticket out of there. With $12,000, Barry McCool and I could start our own gig in downtown Minneapolis. That's what we did. We became, first of all, Warehouse One on Hennepin Avenue in downtown Minneapolis. One of our divisions was Signs of the Times. We also did advertising. Our biggest advertising client was Northwoods Associates, and they made smoking paraphernalia. So we did the ads, I did the illustrations, and design too. Not only did I do that amazing logo type that you see, I actually came up with that name, Melowana. So I knew how to build a brand. I'm not sure how much Melowana I had before I did that art, but it went over big. Also at that time, I was doing lots of illustration for advertising agencies over and over and over again. Minneapolis advertising agencies would call, we need you to do this illustration. So I was working for art directors, which was incredibly frustrating. The final straw came when an art director from Campbell Methuen, which was the biggest advertising agency in Minneapolis at the time, wanted me to do an illustration of toilet paper for Super America gas stations. And, you know, that was kind of bad enough. I had to illustrate toilet paper. But the worst thing is she made me do it over 3 times. So I finally said, you know what, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. And I became an art director myself. That, after a few years, led to me becoming a partner in an advertising agency. This was our announcement ad. Headline sounds like it could be today or whenever, but this was in 1980. Started out as Rumsey, Knudsen and Oberpriller's advertising, eventually turned into Duffy, Bringold, Knudsen and Oberpriller's advertising. And this was, you know, talk about compromise. In order to keep the doors open and keep 25 people working, whatever, we had to take on some really bad clients who basically dictated how we were going to do the ads. So that whole political aspect of advertising became frustrating. 2 of my partners were raging alcoholics, which didn't help. I said, I gotta start over. Once again, I have to start over. At the time, I was inspired by some people that I'm sure you've been inspired by as well. These were guys, Saul Bass, Milton Glaser, Woody Pirtle, Ivan Chermayeff, who were doing what I ultimately found out I wanted to do. I wanted to combine art with communication, make some money at it, but take pride in the work that I was doing in order to sell an idea, a product, or what have you. So I left deciding that I was going to become a designer. And fortunately, a year after we started our advertising agency, these guys started their advertising agency, Fallon McGilligan Rice. We compromised, they didn't. Tom McGilligan is one of the most inspiring creative people I've ever known in my life. He handled the creative side at Fallon McGilligan Rice. My old college roommate, Pat Fallon, handled the business side. He's an account guy, and he started Fallon along with these other people. And what they told me, they met with me, they heard I wanted to start a design firm, and they said, Joe, we have these advertising clients, and they were winning all the awards, they were getting business from all over the country and doing incredible advertising, creative. And they said, you know, every time we bring a design project in, because a lot of our clients not only need advertising, they need design as well, our art directors screw it up. So would you consider going into business, into a partnership with these partners, separate company, but a company that would be affiliated with Fallon and would do work combined with the advertising team for clients who needed both advertising and design. And also you can work independently for clients that just need design. So I said, you bet. The great thing about it is, as any of you who have started a business know, I had ready-made clients. Not only clients from their roster, but clients who had been preconditioned to do really good work because Tom wouldn't allow anything but. So, lucky break. So that started the Duffy Group. And this was the work that we did initially. I hired a young designer, Charles Spencer Anderson, in my first year of business. I loved his work. And he had a very specific style relative to old engravings, and he collected matchbooks, and he had this kind of retro, cool look. I was an illustrator, and so combined we kind of created this, I call it nostalgic, a lot of people call it retro style. And the good news was that we were really doing what we loved doing. We were creating art, and we were doing it for clients, and we were really looking forward to going to work every day. The bad news was we were being pigeonholed because of this aesthetic. You know, we were great for classical pasta sauce or Sonny's ice cream, anything that was an old recipe or that you needed to treat in a nostalgic way. But we weren't good for anybody who had a more contemporary offering or something that had nothing to do with history, etc. So we did this for about 4 years, 5 years. We had some clashes. Chuck wanted to maintain this style. I wanted to branch out. The partners of Fallon wanted us to branch out and do a broader range of designs for all kinds of clients. Charles Spencer Anderson wanted to be an equal partner with me, and I didn't think that was fair. So he said, okay, I'm going to leave. So he took off. Right after that, the Michael Peters group, Michael Peters was another one of my design heroes from London, approached us and said, we would like you to become part of a global network of design studios that will do the best design. Joe, I'd like you to be creative director for everything we do in North America. I thought this would be amazing. So he ended up buying out the partners from Fallon. And we started the Duffy group under the Michael Peters group. It started off kind of with a boom, but what happened is that I didn't check into the business side of Michael Peters. I loved his design work, but I didn't do the deep dive into how he was running his business, what he was doing, how it was going financially, whatever, which was so incredibly stupid on my part. But I just wanted to be a partner. I also wanted to work with designers from all over the world and clients from all over the world. So this lasted 13 months, and Michael Peters Group filed for bankruptcy in the UK. I would have had to go through bankruptcy proceedings for 2 years in the UK unless I shut the company down and started over, which I did. This is a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal, which in 1989 was propped up by Tibor Kalman and Milton Glaser as selling out. Started a big debate between me and Tibor because he had come to the Minneapolis a month earlier and said he did design for clients that he really did great work for, and then he also did design for clients that paid for his suits. So I thought that was more of a compromise than us trying to appeal to big companies who needed great design. Went out of business and needed to once again start over. So we became Joe Duffy Design and did some work that was similar to what we had done early on for clients that it was appropriate for, like Jim Beam. We started the small batch collection, Armani AX, which was all about kind of PX hardware, nostalgic look for jean shops. Some old ones like that, but then also some newer ones like Diet Coke, Kellogg's Smart Start, Smart Wool, those kinds of clients that didn't need that nostalgic work. We also did a lot of this work in concert with Fallon again. Even though we were independent, they still called on us to work on things like Diet Coke, Coca-Cola, Jim Beam. So that worked out rather well. This is actually my son, who's worked with me for 18 years. This is his card from that era. And this kind of went on to become the Duffy Design Group that was more tightly in line and eventually became part of Fallon again, where we would do advertising and design for international trucks, the islands of the Bahamas, Starbucks, Fresca, lots of different things where design and advertising were working together. This worked out really well, so I actually became part of Fallon again, and we were growing. It led to the opening of an office in New York, an office in London, eventually an office in Singapore, and we had a Duffy office and a Fallon office in all of these locations. So we were growing and doing some pretty cool stuff, and eventually we were purchased by Publicis, the network of advertising agencies. Here again, looking back, would I have done it? Not necessarily, but it was this desire for growth and getting bigger and doing more global work. And so we ended up being part of the Publicis group. The creative director at the time of the Publicis move retired, and a new creative director and partner came in, and he didn't really want to partner with me on work that would be both advertising and design. He wanted the final say on all creative. And so I said, Pat, this is why we're in business. And Pat said, I can't make him be your partner. And I said, okay. I quit. That then led to the next round of Duffy, which was Duffy and Partners, an independent design group again, and we were having fun here. I mean, this has been great. We did a pretty good mix of categories. We did spirits, we did beer, we did big brands like Minute Maid and Fisher-Price, Hallmark. We did the Mall of America. One of the things I love about design is that you learn something new about all of these different categories of business, new clients and whatnot. So it's always been great to have this kind of mix. A couple of years ago, business started falling off. Finally came to the realization that we weren't offering enough. We weren't doing as much as our clients needed. We would do the brand design, we'd do traditional design, but we came to the realization that we were being beat by those branding companies, those design companies that were offering more, that were doing social media, that were doing interactive in every form, doing digital, and not only designing websites, which we did, but bringing them to life and making it a fully baked presentation of a brand revitalization or a new brand from scratch. And so we worked with a digital firm in Minneapolis whenever we had that need, and we decided that we would merge and become a new Duffy yet again, and we would have an offering that was complete, that we could take through the whole digital portion of the branding initiative, deal with the strategy and all of that. And so a little over a year ago, we went from Duffy and Partners to our latest iteration, Duffy Design Experience. And these are the brands that we're working for now. I don't have digital work up. For all of these brands, we're doing a complete branding initiative, including technology and digital. But here again, it's been a good run, and I still look forward to getting up and going to work. But there are days, you know this in business, where I go back to that first slide for some relief and some re-excitement and reinvigoration from just hauling off and doing some art. What I've been doing at Duffy Design Experience is continuing to paint. I live in the Southwest for part of the year where I paint portraits of cactus and Navajo, and I do portraits of people that tell stories. I learned design from painting, and I learned painting from design, so it's a really nice mix. And it is a reinvigoration and kind of a restart when I can just haul off and get away from the design business for a little while and start doing some painting. It's so great that I decided that in our new design studio, which is in a building where Prince had Glam Slam, his rock and roll club, that I would haul off and paint a mural on an empty wall in our studio that would celebrate Prince, his creativity. He's the best guitar player of all time. So every once in a while, after I'm in a meeting or after I get a bad call from a client, I'll pick up a paintbrush, go to the wall, and start dabbling away. And it really helps me on an almost daily basis to start over. Thank you very much.